important feature of the modified Vedic religion is the importance of priests called Brahmins. They are the authors of the Brahmanas, priestly writings that explain the earlier Vedas and Vedic ritual. They claim to explain the mystical meaning of the Vedas and to provide instructions regarding ritual. These writings reduced the once active gods of the Rig Veda to divine forces subject to the ritual machinations of priests.
What's going on, people? Back with another video. Brahma. I didn't know there's so many Brahmas. Brahma, Brahmi, Brahma, Brahmin. Like, man. And each one is different. One is a bull, of course. Another one is priesthood, refers to the priesthood. And I believe he said there was another one. I have to go back and check that out. But there's more than one spelling and one meaning of Brahma. So, that being said, let's join the professor and find out what he knows.
The power of the priest in Vedic religion is similar in many ways to the place of the priest in the ancient pagan religion of Rome, who was similarly charged with performing religious rituals with complete accuracy. Great importance was attached to the correct performance of sacrifice. The ritual had to be correct. Vedic religion was polytheistic and with a decidedly masculine flavor.
Oh.
We may compare the great sky god Indra to Rome's Jupiter. In comparing Indo-European religions with other traditions, one notes a correspondence between the patriarchal organization of Indo-European peoples and the male-dominated divinities that populated their heavens. That said, when we read myths from Greece and Rome, we do find some evidence that the masculine divinities of the Indo-Europeans replaced earlier mother goddesses. Some have argued that Vedic religion did the same to the goddesses of the prior Indus civilization. That said, mother goddesses did not disappear, and while the divinities of Greece and Rome yielded to the singular and masculine divinity of monotheism, in India, the male-dominated pantheon would gradually yield space to re-emerging mother goddesses around 650 CE. There were
I don't know. How do you feel about that? At one time, the way they explained it, there were mother goddesses, but they got their ass kicked by the male god, I should say. And ever since then, there's always a male at the head of the table. And then there's a female god. Now this is in India. In ancient Egypt, the god pantheon, there were multiple female goddesses. And they could do pretty good by themselves. Even down to the humans, there were females in charge of the country. Some of them got that power because their husband died and there was no heir, or the children were too small to take over. And some of them because their father was the king. And so when he passed on, if he didn't have any sons, yeah, she was about that life. I would tell you to read up on Hatshepsut. the self-proclaimed queen. She was definitely a woman, but she ran the country and she wanted to be noticed as the king. It's very interesting reading. You'll enjoy that one. A lot of people talk about Cleopatra. Oh, Cleopatra was black. No. Cleopatra was not black. At least not the Queen of Egypt, Cleopatra. And there were more than one Cleopatra in that same family. So yeah, man. We don't have to sit up here and argue about whether or not Cleopatra was black. If she had dark skin. She didn't. She was a Ptolemy. But Hatshepsut and all the other queens that came before Cleopatra, oh yeah, that's us. They not like us. So, saying that, let's get back.
According to various statements in the Rig Veda, somewhere between 33 to 3,339 different gods, depending on who is counting. On the other hand, perhaps there was only one god or none at all. We encounter a fundamental principle of the Rig Veda. Doctrine is not settled, and there is much room for speculation, as there is, of course, in other traditions too. But those in search of definitive statements may find the Rig Veda exasperating on this account. The religious practices, when encounters in this text, center mainly on the ritual slaughter of animals and drinking an intoxicating beverage called soma. Let us mention a few gods. We have noted in passing Indra, the Vedic equivalent of Roman Jupiter. Indra was born to kill Vritra, the serpent. Crushing the serpent released the waters of the earth and allowed the creation of sunrise and sunset. We might thus also compare Indra versus Vritra to Marduk versus Tiamat. And by way of preview, in Egypt, the sun god Re battles the serpent Apophis, and in Greece, Apollo battles a python. The theme is a common one. Surrounded by young and handsome warrior gods who sing his praises, Indra was originally the most important of the gods. His position, however, was later usurped. Indra's divine drink was soma, both a god in its own right, often identified with the moon, and a beverage that could cause severe drunkenness. According to the sacred literature, soma is stallion sperm with the vigor of a male. That was a quote. The Rig Veda describes soma's effect on humans. Quote, "We have partaken of the soma. We have become immortal. Having reached the light, we have found the gods. Inflame me like the fire which is born from friction. Illuminate us and make us more fortunate. O nectar, which has penetrated our souls, immortal in us, mortals, this soma." The exact identity of the plant from which soma was pressed is disputed. Those interested in the debate might turn to R.G. Wasson's Soma, Divine Mushroom of Immortality, whose title gives away his conclusion. Other gods of interest include Varuna, who, like Greek Poseidon and Roman Neptune, was a god of waters, earthquakes, and justice. We may compare Surya, god of the sun, with Greek Helios and Roman Sol. Chandra, god of the moon, with Greek Selene and Roman Luna. Vedic Vishwakarma was like Greek Hephaestus and Roman Vulcan. The Osphins, like the twins Castor and Pollux, also known as the Dioscuri. Ganesha has been compared to Janus, Balarama with Bacchus, Kartikeya with Ares and Mars, Durga with Hera and Juno, Sarasvati with Athena and Minerva, Shri with Aphrodite and Venus, Kama with Eros and Cupid. That is, if we were in a comparative mood. So much by way of introduction. As Wendy Doniger remarks in the introduction to...
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot. We went from some type of sperm elixir. We went from Brahma Bull to... Sorry about that, technical difficulties. But anyway, yeah. We went from 3 or 4 different Brahmas, Brahmi, Brahmin, and I think there was another one, to some magical sperm elixir, to magic mushrooms. Even today, people are familiar with the magic mushrooms. Back then, they also had magic mushrooms. But I think modern days we know magic mushrooms from being smoked, being crushed up and ingested through smoking. Back then, they drank it. I'm pretty sure somebody tried to eat it too at one point in time. He hasn't said it yet, but everything ain't always written down. But yeah, it gets weirder as we go along. So that being said, hey, I'll talk to you later.